Good morning. My name is Jenny Bro, and I'm a worship associate here at the Unitarian Universalist Church in Sherborne. Welcome to this loving community. Come in bringing all of who you are. Bring your wounds and aching hearts, your pain too numb to feel. There are healing waters here to ease your troubles. Let go of the expectations placed on you by others and those you have placed on yourself. May you touch hands with those you love. May you experience awe, love, and humility here. May you see something of beauty and feel a sense of wonder. May you know that each of us contributes to the beauty of the whole. Bring all that you are and all that you love to this hour together. Welcome.
Good morning, everybody. Let's do first, we wave to our camera all the way in the back. And if you're, we welcome everybody at home. If you're new at home, if you're new at here, a special welcome to you. My name is Reverend Nathan Detering. I am one of the ministers here. The rest of many of us, actually, Reverend Heather Kincannon and Jason McClain, our intern, and a lot of other folks were a little bit lighter today, and that's because our coming of age class, which is kind of equivalent to a confirmation class, it's a huge group this year. They're down at the St. Patrick's Day parade. I mean, no, but they're down. They're down going to the Arlington Street Church, and then they do a Unitarian Universalist history tour. We haven't done this tour. This is like, it's been just like the parade. Like this, it hasn't happened in 3 years. So we're just so grateful that they can do that today, and we thank all the mentors. So it's a huge group. They were here early this morning, and they're off. A couple other announcements. We started stewardship last month. Kevin, Paul, would you just stand up for us for a second? This is the guy to go to, that's right. Kevin is the go-to guy for a lot of things. We couldn't get the TV working earlier, he fixed that, but he's also the guy to ask about anything pledge-wise, texting, texting. You can't text your pledge yet. I mean, you could text your pledge, but anyway, I'm getting distracted. Any questions you have, ask Kevin, okay? We have a hearing assistance loop installed. This is part of all of the work that we did to make the sanctuary accessible. All the air circulation in here to make it safe. Bill Churchill has been, who's right there, has been helping so much with this stuff. This is good. We're very applausy today. I'm glad to know because it's springtime, you guys. And anyway, so the hearing loop is installed. So that means if you need hearing assistance and you have a hearing aid, you literally walk in and it instantly amplifies the system for you, which is fantastic. And we have more to come about hopefully making our pulpit area accessible. We have a lot of really cool plans that might happen over the summertime. Two more things to say. One is just for those of you who are at home or kind of, who are here for the first time. I said this last week, I'm encouraging people to come back in person as you feel comfortable. And I say that because being here in your body makes a significant difference to one another, to me, but most importantly, to yourself. So if you feel like, risking is a hard thing to do, and I appreciate that if you want to take a risk, actually doing it in the context of your church community is a really good place to do it, because we take all kinds of important, safe risks, if you will. And the last announcement, I went on sabbatical, it feels like 20 years ago, but it was actually 2019. And I did that sabbatical to work on a book about addiction in response to my brother's death from an overdose 6 years ago. And I did a number of interviews, some of you here, and I've been working on this book forever. And then COVID delayed it with the publisher. And I'm happy to tell you that it's going into production as of last week. For those of you that doubted whether I actually did anything on sabbatical, that's what I did. And but of course, supply chain issues mean that you can't get ink or paper. So I'm told that it'll probably be the fall, but I'm very happy to tell you that, and you will get it in your hands come fall. So those are my announcements today. Let's offer our welcome and our greeting to your neighbor. plug it back in? Yeah. I mean, if it were only that easy.
Just about 10 working for you.
Good morning. I'm Susan Barrett, member of this church and of the choir. There's a reading, words from Raina Maria Rilke, if you would please respond to the words on the screen. Be patient toward all that is unresolved in your heart. Try to love the questions. Try not to seek the answers which cannot always be given. Instead, try to leave the questions now. And perhaps then, gradually, without noticing it, you will live into the answer.
Friends, I'm excited to invite you to rise in body or spirit and sing together, Where Do We Come From? We're going to have help from the choir. This is our third week of singing together, which has been just terrific. Our lyrics are up on our screens.
So this hymn builds each line upon the next, and they all can be sung together. So you can see the 4 separate lines. Well, we'll sing through the whole thing once. Each line repeats as you go along. And then when you hit one you really like, you can stay there if you want to. Or you can take a tour through all the different ones again. And we've got the choir up here. Each little group of us will be singing a different line to help you out. So we'll take it from the top. Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from?
love everyone. Let us remain standing as Abby Bro lights our chalice and we say together our affirmation. Both are expressions of our life and our faith in our community. And let us say together, love is the spirit of this church, and service is love. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek truth and love, and to help one another. Thank you, and please be seated, except for those of you who'd love to come up, whether it's young ones, or middle-aged ones, or older ones, old in soul, young in soul. Morning, you guys. Morning. So last week, if you were here, we had a guest for a Wonder Box, which was Dara Bryans, who's down in Boston today. And I'm pleased to say that we have another guest today. She's on my left, to your right. This is India Wood. India is normally our youth group coordinator. And she's also, did you see the slide? Yes. She's also our tech wizard, because India ran all of our Zoom stuff during Zoom Church, and then she does our tech station. And now Peter Gormley's up there filling the gap, the brief gap. Peter, you're also our tech wizard in training. Apprentice, thank you. Exactly. Apprentice, even better. Apprentice. That's great. So India is going to share with us something. Are you going to share the video right away? Okay, I'll explain the video in a second.
Hi, everybody. How's it going? Good. So as Nathan just said, I'm the youth group coordinator, which means that I hang out with the high school students, so a little bit older than you guys. And then also I hang out up there while you all are in the sanctuary during church. But I'm happy to be down here with all of you right now. So I'm just going to jump right into the Wonder Box today. Who wants to open it up for me? All right. Molly, come on up. All right. Open up the latch. All right, hold it up for the whole congregation to see. Up high, yeah, nice. Okay, who knows what these are? Have people see? Oh, yeah, that's similar. Can everyone? What are these two people doing in this? Yeah. They are being confused. That's true. What are they doing with their bodies? Yeah. They're shrugging their shoulders. Can everybody shrug your shoulders for me? Just like that? Yeah, perfect. So when people shrug their shoulders, what are they trying to tell everybody else? Yeah. That they're confused. They're saying, I don't know, man. This is actually my favorite emoji. If you go to your most used emojis, this is the one for me because I'm often like, I don't know, you guys. So today's service, and I think the rest of the month, right, is all about uncertainty. Can anyone tell me what uncertainty is? Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's when you don't know what's going on and you don't know what's happening around you. Yeah, absolutely. So how many of you have felt uncertain before? You can raise your hand. You all can also raise your hand. I was doing my taxes yesterday, and the whole time I was like, you guys don't need to deal with that yet. It's very scary. Yeah, so you felt uncertain. You all felt uncertain. Yeah. So uncertainty is a really common thing for people to experience. And sometimes when we feel uncertain, we can feel really anxious in our bodies. How many of us have felt worried or anxious because we're uncertain about something? Yeah, absolutely. Taxes and otherwise, yeah. So we're going to watch this video that Ellen Kirstein made, and we are going to think about what uncertainty makes us feel in our bodies while we watch that video.
I just want to say, Ellen, who's right on my left here. Ellen was a preschool teacher. She was my daughter's preschool teacher back in the day. And Ellen is a gifted songwriter, some of which we can't share in worship, but they're amazing. So we're so grateful that Ellen did this for us. And what are the names of the dolls that you use? The Feeling Buddies. I mean, do we all need a feeling buddy in our life? All right, so Peter, are we ready? All right.
Uncertainty, we all deal with it to some degree, some more than others, for example me, and it brings out my anxiety. Less anxiety's my first goal. Worrying makes me think I have control, but that just leads me down a rabbit hole. Negative thinking really takes a toll. I must make peace with the reality that I cannot predict what's going to be. Staying in the moment truly is the key to accepting uncertainty.
Awesome. Amazing. So we heard in that song that sometimes feeling worried makes us feel like we're in control, but it can make things feel also a lot worse. So sometimes it's really important to make peace with what's going on around you. So what are some ways that you all try to avoid worrying? What are some ways that you cope with worrying? Anybody can answer this. Yeah.
Uncertainty.
Thanks, Peter. Can you repeat that? Yeah, sometimes we try not to think about it. What else do we do to avoid feeling worried? Eat chocolate, a great solution. Works every time for me. What else? Whistling? Is that what someone said? Amazing. Yes. Find your dog and pet it. That's a really good solution. Absolutely. So there's lots of ways, and sometimes we just feel worried, and that's okay too. And for me personally, my favorite emoji tells me that sometimes the best thing to do to get some weight off of your shoulders and all that worry is to shrug it off. So what we're all going to do on 3 is we are going to shrug it off, and we're going to all say out loud, I don't know, and that's okay. So on 3. 1, 2, 3. I don't know, and that's okay. Amazing. Thank you all so much. We're going to sing our children out to their RE classes.
Friends, let us find ourselves in ourselves, acknowledging that we don't know, acknowledging that it's okay. Feel your heart beating, the floor underneath your feet, the pew against your back. Here and we are held. We're all held here. Let us enter into our time of meditation by singing together, "There Will Be a Light." Now is our time in our service, as we do every week, to name the people that we love and who we're worried about and need our prayers, and the world that we live in that needs our prayers, and the gratitudes that we do not have to earn in order to receive. And I have a hard one to start us off with, but the family asked me how much prayers meant and mean to them. And this is for Judd Wolfskill, who was just here a few weeks ago doing a testimonial. So Judd is in his 40s, and he's in the ICU this morning because of a brain infection. Miranda, his wife, and their 2 daughters, Miranda texted me late Friday night to let me know that is going on. He is in Tufts as of today. He was in Framingham. And he's receiving, I think, a lot of antivirals and all of the kinds of things that they need to do. So rest assured that I, of course, will let us know, because many of us know and love Judd very much, as I certainly do. I will let us know what happens and what is happening. But Miranda made a special request to just for all of us to hold him in our love this morning and continuing. There'll be a way for you to deliver meals to Miranda. For those of you who are on the caring team, if you want to join that team, there's a way to do that. You can see the weekly email. So just hold Judd and Miranda and their young girls. John and Susan Weaver ask a prayer for their daughter Julia and her family who are in Germany, and to give them strength to help out as they volunteer. They have taken in a family from Ukraine. So friends, those two prayers for loved ones and for all of those that we know rest between the words, we light a candle. And as we look out our windows here in late March, the world calls for our attention, our intention, our prayers. This from Paulina, that the world finally learns that never again has to be more than just words, no matter how heartfelt. And several prayers here for the people of Ukraine who are fighting for us, for every one of us. And last but not least, our gratitudes. This from the Patton family for 2 new cats in their home. Welcome, kittens. From the Bro family for sunshine and crocuses. And this from John and Susan Weaver, who were just right over there. Tomorrow, the 21st, is the 12th anniversary of the death of their 17-year-old son, Tommy, from brain cancer. And they would like to thank our church community and all of you for the help and support that you have given them. And they also wanted to thank me, and it was my privilege, of course, to fly back from England during my first sabbatical at that time to minister at the funeral. I really can't believe it's been 12 years, and Tommy is here with us. Friends, let us pray together. Dear God of our many names and our no names, we have an ache this morning here in the sanctuary for our beloved Judd Wiskill, who is in the hospital, an ache for the people of Ukraine, an ache for the people who we have lost, Tommy Weaver. We have so many questions, and we have no answers. Our prayer is to name our aches and to reach out for help. Our prayer of helping and hoping and loving. All these feelings, all these prayers here as we hold them in stillness together. For me, one of the best things about our pledge season, our stewardship season, is that we get to hear testimonials about the impact that the church community has made on us. And this morning, I'm delighted to welcome Mark Patton. The rest of his family, Barbara, is there in the pew. Good morning. And they are new. They came to church during COVID, sort of online, and here they are. And I asked them to share with us the impact the church has had. Mark.
Good morning. My name is Mark Patton, and my family and I are relatively new to the congregation, having started services during the pandemic. My wife, Barbara, and our daughter, Lila, have graciously nominated me to be the one to come up and speak this morning. I suppose it's because I'm the least likely to cry out of the three of us. When Reverend Nathan asked us about participating, Barbara and I thought that this must be some sort of mistake. We're fairly new. We're fairly new to the church and feel like we're beginners. We're still finding our voice and seeing how we can serve the congregation. We've come searching for peace, guidance, and meaning. Over the last few years, we've struggled with the heartbreaking loss of several close family members. Then, during the first few months of the pandemic, Barbara's mother became ill and passed from COVID at a nursing home in Michigan. And we've still not been able to get her entire extended family together to allow for some closure. What we found here is a welcoming community, a place to gather and meet others with aligned values and purpose. Conversations that help us learn more about ourselves, our beliefs, and the world around us. To connect to something bigger than ourselves, to get to know our neighbors and deepen the connections within our community. Sometimes it's the hard things in life that, it's the hard things in life that give us depth of understanding of ourselves and our connections to others. But spending time here has also reminded us to come back up to see and feel the light that is all around us. The services are a reminder for us to live more fully and mindfully, taking the time each Sunday to gather together, regroup, set intentions for the coming week. And it can be as simple as the opportunity to just slow down and sit quietly with our family. The honesty and humility of all of the ministers in congregation are, for us, permission to be imperfect, messy, angry, sad, impatient, joyful, and even funny, to come together exactly as we are, to show up for ourselves and others with space in our hearts and minds to stay curious and be open. The UAC is an inspiration, the calm beauty of this sanctuary, the music, the ideas, sitting in communion with the congregation are all an inspiration as we practice being the best versions of ourselves. We hope that our financial stewardship has helped to ensure that all of our wonderful experiences at the UUAC continue to be there for us and for others. The beliefs held here inspire us and are a reminder of what's important: to be thankful, to aim higher, to be brave, to practice being who we want to be, and to love. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mark and Barbara and Lila. We're privileged to have you here among us, and welcome, welcome. And just thank you for your words. So every week, as we know, we share our offering outside these walls. And what a terrific thing that we've been able to do that, by the way, for a good long time now. And this month, I have been intentional, we've been intentional, the worship team, about thinking about ways that we can put some financial resources towards Ukraine, and especially ones that are in Ukraine itself. And today's recipient is called Fight for Right. And you can see the logo up there. And what this organization does is that it supports Ukrainians with disabilities to get out of Ukraine. So of course, there's hard for everybody to get out, and then you can imagine. You might have even seen some of the photos of people in wheelchairs, being carried across rivers where the bridges have been bombed out. So this organization goes in particular to those people who have all kinds of physical and emotional and mental disabilities. I don't even like that word. Sort of just need more help. Okay, and it's right there in Ukraine. So we will share that offering with them because of your generosity. Thank you so much.
I almost forgot I wanted to let you know about this song. The name of the song is Spiritual, and it's by Issei Barnwell, and it was written in the early 90s, which is why you might hear some references to certain struggles that were going on in the early 90s. And rather unfortunately, plenty of it is still absolutely relevant today.
Can't no one know at sunrise how this day is going to end? And I'm telling you, can't no one know at
Friends, here is our world. Week after week, beautiful and terrible things continue to happen. And we ask ourselves and one another to keep our hearts tender and our words true and our eyes soft. We know there is no answer but to love one another. We bear witness against destruction. We gather in community to practice being the person that we are trying to be. We cannot do everything, but we can do something. So as Leonard Cohen reminds us, we can ring the bells that still can ring. We can forget our perfect offering. There is a crack in everything. Say with me, that is how the light gets in. So I'm very aware, I wrote this, worked on this sermon yesterday, and of course I, knew that I had to tell you about our friend Judd. And sometimes I feel like I have this information, right? And then I've had some time to work on it, right? And I just give it to you. I share it, and then it sort of like sits there, and it's just like this really heavy thing. You feel that? Yeah. What did India say? India said, sometimes we don't know, and that's okay. It doesn't feel okay. But that's the feeling, whether it's about somebody we love that we're worried about, or ourselves. And that's kind of what our theme is for the month. So it's sort of appropriate, unfortunately, fortunately, that we have this theme of ambiguity, which is right here. Catherine McHugh, the Worship Associates, they worked on it, and it's beautiful. And you can take a copy in the back. Dara printed some off. When I saw the theme in February, I remembered what it was. It was still during Omicron, and I had a mini tantrum, actually, when I saw the theme. I'm like, who thought this was a good idea to think about this in springtime? Because I just want to, Jenny wrote the thing about crocuses, I just want to lay back in my brown yard and just look at the grass that won't come and eventually, and just lay there in the sunlight. And I just want to think about spring. And it's not just the weather. It's the season, and the season of spring for me, maybe for you, is about optimism, right? It's about hope. It's about light and possibility. And for years now, this is hard I can't even believe this. For years, we have had our anticipation, not just moderated, but eviscerated, kind of feels like. There's just so much uncertainty. There's so much ambiguity. I don't want to think about ambiguity. I just want to pet my dog or something. The kids are so wise. I just talk, I listen, I try not to think about it. That's right. But then this happened. One of you texted me to say last Sunday, how easy it had been to pledge that day. And it is, by the way, just a little detour here. You can just go on the email. Jenny's doing it right now during my sermon. It's amazing. Kevin did steal her phone because he's behind her and he did it for her. But anyway, I tried, this person texted to say it was easy, great. I wanted to say the thank you emoji, okay? But instead, because I'm so bad at texting, I accidentally sent the thumbs down emoji. Oh no, I was I know this person well. But I just want to be clear. There's no thumbs down for anybody's pledge. Kevin will not thumbs down you. There's no amount that's the thumbs down. We are just thumbs up all the way, right, Kevin? Let's just all do it together. Thumbs up. Okay. The person was full of grace. Thank you. But then I noted, India mentioned this during our Wonder Box, which was amazing, India. Thank you very much for doing that. Of course, if you look at it, if you look at your phone, hold on, don't do it yet. You go to your emoji section. I see Janet Barnett. I know you're on your smartphone all the time, Janet. Janet's one of our longest serving members here. And there's a frequent usage, like frequent emojis, right, that you use all the time. We all know that? Okay. And I started to wonder, like, what it says about a person. What does it say about you, about the ones that are the most frequent? That's an interesting question, isn't it? And then I started wondering, like, what does it say about me and my state of mind? So I thought I'd share with you. So here are mine. I know before you do it, I wanted us to note this is the eighth principle work for me, sort of in practice, just a little way. The skin color of emojis didn't get changed, meaning it didn't get offered more skin colors until people of color started saying, "Hold on a second, like what about me? Like I'm not yellow-skinned, I'm not white-skinned, as you'll see the ones that I use. Like what about me?" Right? So just wanted to note that. So India, first one. All right, so for those of you who don't know, I'm a huge cyclist. It's what I do, and it's just, you know, and they have so many of them. This is for obvious reasons that I have this one. Okay, second slide. This is why I did what I did. Now, I don't use this because I'm discouraging your pledges with such frequency. I use it because our son Emerson is always sending us political headlines that make me just enraged, and there's not like a emoji. I mean, there is, but you can't like thumb it on the like, anyway. You know what I'm talking about. This is why I just always thumbs down that stuff. Like, stop sending it to me. Okay, next one. I use this all the time. I mean, why do I use this? Because life. Because before you came, we couldn't get the screen working, because the air circulation system wasn't on when I came, because everything that's annoying and wearying and exhausting, it's like a spiritual shrug, this emoji, just like, oh my God, seriously, that kind of thing. So this is very common for me. India, fourth slide. Yeah. I always use this to express appreciation. But I really loved it even more when I heard this quote from the German theologian Karl Barth, who is not known for emojis, but I want to tell you what he said about hands clasped in prayer. And I want you to do that with me. I know some of you are knitting. I see Maria knitting. And it's great. To hold your hands in prayer, which we don't often do. But let me tell you this quote. To clasp the hands in prayer is the beginning of an uprising against the disorder of the world. To clasp the hands in prayer and to go up is the beginning of an uprising against the disorder of the world. Isn't that beautiful? I'm thinking like we ought to all use that emoji now. It's an expression of resistance. I love that. It's not a please, like, gimme, gimme, gimme. It's like, I resist. I rise up against the things I don't know, against the uncertainties. Okay. Last slide. This is my most used emoji. And I was like, what does that say? Like, it's funny, but then I'm like, what is that about? I think this captures sort of my, especially the last couple of years, my whole disposition, everybody. This like worry in the midst of ambiguity, this, like just clenching. Indy talked about what happens in our bodies. Like, and they say like grinding teeth is what we do asleep when we're anxious, when we're worried, when there's ambiguity. Worried about if Trump is going to run again. I'm just, the next COVID variant. What's going to happen next year when Karen and I are empty nesters and how that's going to feel? Where is Ella going to go to college? How can we afford it? I mean, just and you guys have all of this stuff in your life that gives you this feeling. Are you with me? And here's the point. I have many points, but here's one of them. I've got this scripture of uncertainty going on inside of me. It's the gospel of uncertainty. This Bible of unanswered questions going on inside of me. Never mind all the poetry in the world, like the gritted teeth emoji tells the truth going on in my heart so much of the time. My colleague in ministry, Donna Shaper, who's a UCC minister, and she writes and she preaches the way that I want to when I grow up. Do you have somebody like that in your life? I want to be like them when I grow up. She talks about the reading that Susan read so beautifully for us by Rilke. And she says, he became famous by begging us to love the questions. He even admonishes us to love the questions. And she says, if it were easy to love questions, we would not need admonishing. And then I want you to listen to and tell me if this rings true for you. She says, I get uptight if I don't know my partner's plans for the evening, or whether the budget's going to pass the congregational meeting. I don't love questions. I hate questions, she says. And then she says, one way to love questions is to give more permission to uncertainty. You might even, she says, become open and affirming and welcome the questions. And then she says, could I date questions instead of having to marry them? Could I maybe just sort of open the door to questions on my way to trying to love them? She says, I don't know how to be glad at the arrival of conflict that the questions bring. Whatever conflict, large or small, comes along, she says, and I want us to listen here, whenever conflict comes along, conflict of questions, we are about to learn something. This is where you get that phrase, another bleep growth opportunity. We're about to learn something. We learn nothing, she says, when the seas are calm, except how to float. But when seas are churning, we pay attention. One way to love questions is to give more permission to uncertainty. So Reverend Donna is saying that there is a gospel. There is a gospel according to uncertainty. The word gospel is Latin. It means good news. That's what it means. Is there good news in all the stuff that we're feeling? I don't know. But I do think there are some lessons. That I do believe. So many of you know that, back in December, I talked about this just a little bit to let us know that our family had a bout of uncertainty with our son. It was at Christmas time. Out of the blue, he had a seizure on Christmas Day. Christmas, it was 5 o'clock. And I've been remembering the preaching advice I've been given to preach from scars and not wounds. So I have not shared so much about this, situation and what I've learned from it. Because, like Mark said, I think I would just cry. And then one of you would have to come up and sort of, just sit with me, and that'd be okay. But I am your minister, right? I need me and you need me to help us respond to the uncertainties in life. I take that work immensely seriously. Which is why when I saw this theme, I was like, I don't want to do that work. I don't want to do that work. But then I felt called to do the work. So, there was so much uncertainty in that, 6 weeks, 7 weeks, 8 weeks. They were like checking like one scary diagnosis from one after the other, It left me raw and roughed up. I just was trying to survive. And survival ain't nothing. Survival is not nothing. What's the saying? You can't do everything, but you can do something. And sometimes what you can do is survive. And what survival looked like was comforting our child, even when you yourself, you don't know how to comfort yourself. All of us have had moments like this. You try to comfort a child, a parent, a friend, a partner, and you don't feel anything like any capacity to love and to care. And it's a marvel. It is a miracle. It is gospel good news that somehow we were able to do that still when we are most vulnerable. But the moment that I have been thinking about most, as I was thinking about this sermon, or I don't even just know, this feeling, this growth that I wanted to share with us, was the time. So that night, the hospital, the ambulance folks took him to the hospital, and because it was COVID, like it was Omicron, we couldn't go to the hospital. We had to wait in the house. They wouldn't let anybody else in. And so we're waiting there. Like literally the food is in the oven. The table is set for the dinner that never happened. And we're just like waiting. It's this terrible waiting, this advent of waiting. Not for the arrival of Christmas, the Christmas holy, but like to some kind of answer to the questions that we had, which is like, what happened? Like, is it going to be okay? What caused this? And we were there all alone in the house, the three of us, and our dog, who is a great comfort. I mean, let's not minimize the things that give us comfort. Waiting for Emerson to FaceTime us if the Wi-Fi signal was strong enough. And then to hear from Rilke that I'm supposed to love the questions, live into the questions. I mean, you have to search deeper into the emojis, but there is an emoji for that feeling that I wanted to give. Are you with me? Because there's nothing but pain and fear. But beneath the pain and fear is what Reverend Donna describes. What I was searching for was like this. She describes it as this hidden grail that flows beneath the center of things, which is just poetry. For we wanted like a foundation beneath us to hold us in the midst of our worry, to feel upheld. You guys. To keep us rooted in our ability to give comfort when we needed the comfort. That's what we wanted. And what I'm here to tell you, to testify to you, is that it was there. So the feeling that you have now, or you've had, this longing for answers, this gritted teeth, emoji, spiritual disposition you've had, and the longing for stability, what I'm here to testify to you is that it is there. And here's how it looked. My in-laws called from England, ready to sing songs or whatever, and then we told them what was going on, and then we just put them on the iPad next to the couch, and they were just there. Didn't say anything, just there. Pulled out our meditation apps. There are some amazing ones. I'm telling you. That gives us the foundation just to be in our bodies and to breathe. There is an app for that. And then one of you from church happened to text Happy Christmas, and because you have medical background, you called us, and you just like listen to me ask questions, Allison. I mean, it is there. And what I want to tell us is that it extends out to your experiences. This thing that we're like learning, which is that in our desperation, that we are not alone. Things have been, it is springtime and it is beautiful, but things have been so hard for so long. Politically, internationally, environmentally, public health-wise. I mean, I keep saying, like, is this for real going on right now? Like, what is going on? Am I, like, imagining things? We are searching for leaders under every rock. We are searching in our cores because we have so much uncertainty. We have so much ambiguity. There is so much disturbance. And when we're disturbed, we are driven deep, you guys. We are driven deep into ourselves. We are seeking, as Donna said, that grail that flows at the center of things. And here's the gospel. The seeking is what leads us to the help that we need. For me, it leads to God. It leads us to one another. It leads us to practices like meditation to keep us calm. And all of that helps us sit and not flee from the questions for which we have no answers. I am grateful to tell you that Emerson is well. That looks like everything was because he didn't drink enough water. Public health message, hydrate. But I also know I have been here with you in ministry for almost 20 years. I know that our fears are not always unrealized. I mean, to say anything different would be to deny the reality of your experience and my experience. And because the question of why do terrible things happen, is a question for which there is no answer for. Which is why when somebody says it's God's plan, I have a lot of emojis for that. There are no answers for me about why bad things happen. But what I do know, in the midst of that, in the midst of our seeking, we can go to our core. Yeah? We can go to our depths. And what I want to tell us is that love is there. And help is there. And strength that you don't have to have is there. This is what I believe. This is what I'm learning here at 20 years in ministry. And I wanted to share it with you. Amen? Amen. We're going to sing together. We're singing Winds Be Still, Sarah. It's up on our screens. Friends, last week I reintroduced my tradition of being right over there to greet you. And I love to say good morning, and I love to greet you. So if you'd like to do that, I'll be right over there inside the doors. As we say together, our call to ministry, these words, our promise to live in the world with the spirit of our church imbued in us. We go forth into the world in peace to act with works of love, learn each person's dignity, and to cherish living earth. In the midst of all of your fears, all of your uncertainties, all of your questions, and when you go to your core, in the midst of all of that, you are held. Amen.